can go.
Okay, thank you so much, Maggie, for handing over to me. I am super excited to be here, and I would like to welcome and greet everybody who has tuned in here tonight to our cryptocurrency talk show. It's not me alone. I am with my partners, being Sibonelo Mohale, all the way in the Kingdom of Eswatini, and my beautiful sister, Maggie Muluzi, who is based on the West Rand of Johannesburg. Together, we call ourselves the Crypto Trio. Now, why are we here tonight? Basically, the idea is that whether you are a little wet behind your ears in the world of cryptocurrency, or you have been blazing the crypto trail for a while, like us, this show will show you the good, the bad, and the ugly of crypto. The information that we will be sharing here will be from us based on what has worked for us and what we know. We're not saying we are experts, but we can always tap to the experts when need be. But the idea behind this show is to break it down so that even that new person can understand what cryptocurrencies are. And we will also be giving insight to those people who are already experienced. Basically, we want to make your crypto journey as easy and possible by providing you with facts and addressing any misinformation. Now, let's settle up. We have a long ride ahead of us. Maggie and Sibonelo, tell me, is this a bubble waiting to burst? Some people have always asked, what is this Bitcoin? Is it a bubble waiting to burst?
Hey, Portia, you know, being a mom, I'm sure you saw my hand going. My son just walked in. Saying, Mama, Mama. Anyway, get a minute. Okay. Okay. Anyway, thank you so much, Portia, for that welcome. And yeah, so is Bitcoin a bubble? Is it a bubble? I don't know if I'm qualified to speak about that, you know, but I know that Mina, when I was introduced to Bitcoin, it was in 2017. There was a time when it was everyone was just talking about Bitcoin. And that's when I first heard that Bitcoin is a bubble, it's going to burst. And at that time, I know it was around about towards the end of 2017, the price of Bitcoin was just going up and up and up and up. And then the word around was that Bitcoin is a bubble. This thing is not real. It is going to burst. And you know what? I actually felt trapped of, trapped of that, because I had some Bitcoin because I thought this thing was a good thing to have. And then now I'm hearing bubble. And I must say, I also got scared because the price of this thing was really skyrocketing. Honestly, Portia, I did not even know what a bubble is, but it just doesn't sound like anything, right? So to answer your question, I am going to refer to what Wikipedia says a bubble is. And then based on that, let's talk about this and see if it is a bubble or not. And let me just tell you what Wikipedia says about a bubble, not about Bitcoin, about what a bubble is. It says an economic bubble or asset bubble, okay, is a situation in which asset prices appear to be based on implausible or inconsistent views about the future. It could also be described as a trade in an asset at a price or a price range that strongly, listen to this, strongly exceeds the asset's intrinsic value. Right, now, that's what it says, the people say. Now, I believe in Bitcoin. Sibonelo, you believe in Bitcoin. But
Most
now,
definitely, Max.
have you also heard people saying that Bitcoin is a bubble?
Yes, yes, I've heard many.
What else has it
Even
been
experts.
called? Even experts, ne?
Yeah.
What else has Bitcoin been called beside a bubble?
It's a scam, it's a Ponzi scheme, all such words.
Okay, so now let's talk about bubble. Today we're talking about the bubble language. So I've just given you a description according to Wikipedia of what a bubble is. Now I want you to answer the cautious question based on this. Ne? They said that it is a situation in which asset prices, let's just stop on that word asset. Is Bitcoin an asset?
Yes, most definitely it is an asset. It is
Okay.
an asset.
So what are you basing that on? I mean, I can't touch this thing. Why is it an asset? Why would you consider it an asset?
That's a great question, Max. You know, many people are scared to be part of this Bitcoin story because they don't understand, they can't touch this thing, they can't see it because we are so used in things that we can see and touch. Okay, so it's a concept that we just know about. It's a technology in a way. So people are very, very much scared, and that is justified. I've asked a number of people, why aren't you part of this revolution? Because I'm so excited about it. I'm part of it. And people have got different answers, you know. They will tell you, this is risky, this is not real, because they can't touch it. Because, mind you, we were born into an era whereby things have been physical most of the time. If we say this is money, for example, you could touch it, this is that. So we are brought up in that manner. But now if I say there's Bitcoin, there's an asset, because when you talk about an asset, let me use Robert Kiyosaki's definition of an asset. An asset is something that will make you returns, whether you are active in that thing or not. You go and sleep, you wake up, possibly it's even more valuable than what it was before. So that is an asset.
Okay, so an asset is something that will make you money. It gives you returns.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So now, so it's an asset.
It is.
If it's an asset, so it's got potential to be a bubble. I get, because this bubble, they said that it is, according to the definition, an asset price, right? Let's just go, and we don't have much time, so we have to be very quick. I just want to read this thing again. It said, an asset is a situation in which asset prices appear to be based on implausible or inconsistent views about the future. So the time when this Bitcoin was being spoken about as a bubble, honestly, I mean, I got into this thing in October of 2017. It was between 67 and 69,000 rands for one. Putu. A few months later, it is December. This thing is 200,000 rands. I've never seen such an asset. So is that price, according to that definition, an asset price appears to be based on implausible or inconsistent views about the future. Now, what is pumping this? Before you even go there, Sonal, tell me, what is pumping this? What is pumping this asset that you're saying is an asset?
Okay, Max. We have mentioned something very, very important. We have seen the cycles of Bitcoin. Almost every 4 years, it moves up. There's usually an event which you call halving. It moves up, such that in 2017, we saw it rising to almost 20,000 US dollars. That is around 300,000 rands. And yes, it happened even in 2021. It moved to more than 60,000 US dollars. You see, many people don't believe that kind of price is moving up in that manner. And, you know, it worries them to say, how is this exactly happening? Where is this really based? Because the valuation most people know or that is being used is what is generally known as the standard discounted cash flow analysis. That is what we are born into, whether we have heard the word or not, but you know it. the standard discounted cash flow analysis.
The standard discounted cash flow analysis. Okay.
Yes. So when people think about investment, when people think about something worth, they think of that analysis. So all questions stem out from what we've been fed, we've been indoctrinated. So you don't even have to think about it. You are grown into a culture of saying, if it is good, it must fit in this particular box. Okay, maybe let me just help somebody who doesn't understand standard discounted cash flow, what it is. It is a valuation method that is used to estimate the value of an investment based on its expected future cash flows, what it will make in the future. So you are trying to estimate something now based on what you think it will happen or will happen in the future. So it's just a subjective kind of a concept. So, but when it comes to Bitcoin, you'll understand as we discussed that it is not subjective, it's very, very objective. Okay. Yet we are so used to this subjective standard discounted cash flow analysis. So that's why many people are worried. This price, is it real? Shooting to 300,000, going down, then shooting to 900,000, going. This is a whole process that people need to understand as we'll unpack it, why it's happening. We are muted, Max.
But Swanelo, I hear what you're saying, okay? But I want you to really unpack that for somebody.
Yes.
You are saying, number one, you said it's an asset. You without wavering, you said it's an asset. Mina, yes. I know it as a currency. It's a currency and it's an asset, okay? Now, you even went on to say that this value that it has, that we saw, is objective, whilst we are used to a subjective, or being told that you must know this and this and this for this, you should be able to explain this. But there is something that explains this. Let's tell people about what drives this value of Bitcoin, because maybe before I even tell them what drives the value, just in a minute, what is Bitcoin? So when they understand that and you start talking about what drives the value, it all comes together. It makes sense that the price increase that we saw is not unexpected. It is by design.
Okay, maybe let me start from a high level, because we will expand later. Let me start from the simplest definition to say Bitcoin is money. Money. And the concept of money is a subject on its own. But let me go further to say, when you talk about Bitcoin, you're talking about a scarce digital good.
Okay.
I've already said it's an asset. It's a scarce digital good. This is a transferable digital asset or good, which is created on a Bitcoin network. That is technology.
It is money. It is an asset. You define an asset because it grows in value over time. Using Robert Kiyosaki's definition, it makes us money. So it's money that's making us money.
Yeah, more profits.
More profits without you doing anything, which classifies it as an asset. Okay, that is determined, right? And then go on.
So I said it is a transferable digital asset. It's a transferable digital good.
What do you mean? I can give this asset to somebody else?
Yes, I can give. Yes, I can move it to you right now, almost immediately. But the interesting thing about it is that it doesn't need an intermediary, which confuses many people and which unseats many people who are on power, who are controlling things because they always want to be part of the process and eat something from that process. So it has been uncomfortable for many, such that they even don't encourage many people to participate. Why? It eliminates some people as it gets to be transferable quicker than even the systems we know. And I must mention this, Max. What is around us is systems. We are using systems, we are living with systems, and systems are man-made. Okay, so whosoever makes a particular system would like to hold on to it and will discourage other people to explore new systems. But Bitcoin has been the breakthrough system that has been brought to people, and people, little by little, they are exploring it, they are embracing it. And as I was saying, this is a transferable digital asset that is created on a Bitcoin network through a process called mining.
Okay.
Decisive word there is mining.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes.
You also mentioned something. You mentioned intermediaries.
Yes.
And you mentioned that it has made people uncomfortable, those who wanted to keep us locked into some system. What are these? What are intermediaries? What are you talking about?
So when you talk about intermediaries, it could be many people, Max, they are financial companies that will always be there for you. If you want to transfer money from here, maybe to the United States, I'm just making an example because it's a far place from where we are. There will be in the mix, it could be banks, it could be different financial entities, you know, your Western Union or whatsoever. Those entities, I'm just making examples. There's many of them. And there are even banks at different levels, the settlement banks, banks of banks, you know, that network. Understand that this is a network that has been formed over a period of time, and some people who are beneficiaries want to keep it intact. Those are the intermediaries which we are eliminating here. And look at that stack that we are attacking. Wouldn't they attack back, especially through indoctrination and other means?
Okay. Now, when you spoke about transferable, I just got caught on something that you said, which is very interesting. You said, I could even transfer it to you right now. And by the way, I'm in South Africa, Sponelo is in Swaziland. And he's saying, without any borders, without anybody coming in and saying, Sponelo, how much do you want to send? And who are you sending it to? Why are you sending it there? Because those are the kind of things that we have to answer when you are sending money cross-border. And so, but Sponelo just said, he can just send me that transferable asset right now. And before the end of this session, I could have received it. So now we are still answering our question, is Bitcoin a bubble? So it's money, which is an asset, which is transferable, which has eliminated the middleman, and there is resistance to adoption of this, or to us understanding this from those who are vested in us being locked in to these prices that we are paying because of having intermediaries. Am I right?
Exactly.
Okay, it's coming together. Okay, so now the next question, which has still not been answered, is when you said, when we asked the question about the price of this asset, and when you spoke about, what did you say, what is that big word, standard discounted cash flow method? And we know, as people who are in this space and are studying cryptocurrency, that the price of Bitcoin is not by chance. It is not by chance. We are expecting that it would be going up and down, right? So let's talk about that. What is that when we are saying we are expecting it, what is making us expect that the value of Bitcoin will keep appreciating in value?
Okay, thanks, Meg. There's something that I mentioned when I said Bitcoin is a transferable good. I said it is created or produced on a network, a Bitcoin network. Basically, it's based on computers, computer systems, okay? And I said through a process called mining. And when you talk about mining, people relate with gold mining, the natural resource, okay? So gold mining can be compared with this in a rough way with Bitcoin. And the production in terms of mining, the production of Bitcoins is designed. What do I mean by designed? We already know how many Bitcoins will be there. It's designed, it is fixed. Okay, there will only be 21 million. They are finite, and there is power in anything that is finite. Once you know something is scarce, something is finite, you know that with time it will appreciate in value, because there is this economics rule that talks about the demand and supply. So if something is finite, and we get to see more people getting interested in owning that particular commodity or that particular asset, definitely the price is going to move up. And there's something special about Bitcoin. As I said, it is money. It has got a predictable schedule in terms of its issuance, as opposed to what we know. We
Okay.
know, for an example, that Bitcoin, every 10 minutes, there's a number of Bitcoins that are issued, yeah, that go into circulation. Maybe to make it relate with many people, we know that the money that we use, fiat money, the rands there, is issued by a bank, central bank or reserve bank. So it is issued to people through the private banks, whereby then you get it in your account. So, but now we are talking about a system that is smart. It has been designed already, how many will be issued, and it has got a predictable schedule, how it is issued, when it is issued. And interestingly, number 3 is that the issuance keeps on going down, the supply keeps on going down predictably. For an example, when it started, every 10 minutes, it was 50 Bitcoins, every 10 minutes. Then after a certain number of years, like 4 years, it went down by half to 25. Do you see what is happening there? Supply is going down. Then it moved to 12.5 after a certain number of years, 4 years. Then right now where we are, starting from last year, 2020, it is 6.25 every 10 minutes. You see that this thing is structured, it is clear. And if we are using something that is clear, structured, then we know that we can determine the direction in the future, as opposed to other things that you can never know what is going to happen in the future, because people just decide, let us print more at any time. So that is what is powerful about this concept of Bitcoin.
Wow, you said a lot of things that made a lot of sense to me. And
Yes.
I just want to reiterate for that person who was listening and probably didn't get it. You know, you said it is mined, right? And then you said it is designed to be in a particular way, which makes it predict. We know what to expect. And that design was such that it will go up in value. And you said what determines that was the fact, you said it is finite. We said we know for sure that there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoins. And we know for sure how much is produced every 10 minutes, predictably. So you actually said it's got a predictable schedule. So we know what's coming up front. And hence we are not surprised when we see the value go up.
Yes.
Right? So you said that supply predictably goes down. So I'm going to reinterpret that to say, you said it is mined, right? There's a limited number of coins, and then supply predictably goes down, which means this mining, you even gave some figures, which means this mining over time becomes more and more difficult because you get more and less coins out. Right. So now that answers the question, because we're still talking about, is Bitcoin a bubble?
Yeah. It
answers that question. I mean, where it says, let me just refer back to our description of what a bubble is, where it says that it's a situation in which asset prices appear to be based on implausible or inconsistent views about the future. For me, based on what we have just spoken about, it's not describing Bitcoin.
It's not.
Because it says implausible or inconsistent views about the future. Spontaneously, you just confirmed that we know what is coming. It's predictable. It is built in. It was designed to make sure that we are going to see these upward trends in value.
100%.
Okay, so now we are getting closer to it. We've got about 5 or 10 minutes left. So the last thing it says about the description of a bubble, it says, it could also be described as trade in an asset at a price or a price range that strongly exceeds the asset's intrinsic value.
Yes.
You know, we have had, talk about its intrinsic value, okay? We have had a lot of sessions where we have spoken about price versus value of Bitcoin, especially when we see instances where, maybe let's talk about it in this way. We've seen, for example, in 2017 that I spoke of, the value of Bitcoin hit 300,000, about $20,000 for one coin, and then boom, it went down. The next year, it went as low as 48,000 rands for one coin. But why are we seeing it now? I mean, at some point it hit almost R1 million and about $60,000, isn't it? Why are we seeing that it went up, it's gone down again? What is this intrinsic value? Because according to a bubble, it means that its price exceeds its intrinsic value. Do you want to speak to that? To say, is that speaking about Bitcoin? Is Bitcoin's price exceeding its intrinsic value?
Okay, maybe I will take a different approach in addressing what you are asking, Max, because this word intrinsic is all over the place. People will be saying Bitcoin doesn't have intrinsic value, so we don't believe this thing would last. This doesn't qualify as money. Intrinsic. What do you mean by that concept, basically? Maybe before I even answer that, I must clearly put it out there that Bitcoin is not backed by any physical commodity. What you are used to, you'll hear people saying, what backs this? It is backed by gold, it is backed by this and that. Bitcoin is not backed by any physical commodity. Yes, there's something that backs Bitcoin, but we are not going to discuss it right away right now. But it is not backed by physical commodity, and nor is it guaranteed by any government or company. You know, when you talk about your fiat currency, your rent, it is guaranteed by your government. It's the government that tells you, hey, this is money and it must have so much value. And then the politics and all this and that, the economics of that country basically backs that particular currency. But with Bitcoin, none of that. So it raises many questions to somebody who wants to put his money into that. Why does this thing have value then? Okay, that's why they say it doesn't have intrinsic value. Yes, I want to mention that Bitcoin is unlike your stocks, your bonds, your real estate, or even your commodities like oil, your wheat. It's not like that, because that, as I said, it is valued through the standard cash flow analysis, the standard discounted cash flow analysis. It's not any of that. Or basically, when you talk about these things I've mentioned, the stocks, the bonds, and the like, their demand is based also on what can be done using this thing at a higher level, what we call the production of higher order goods. I hope I'm making sense. Think about gold. Do you know why many people believe gold is so precious and important? It's because whether you are using it for trading or not, you can take gold and make jewelry. So that is a higher order good. So that's what many people mean by intrinsic value. That even if you do not give Maggie as a mode of payment, but you can also use it to create other higher order goods.
Okay, all right.
So that's why they don't believe Bitcoin is worth calling money. What they are missing is that Bitcoin doesn't fall on that category of goods. Bitcoin falls on a different category, which is called monetary goods.
Okay.
Monetary goods. In our next session, we are going to discuss money. What do we mean by things that qualify as monetary goods? What is expected from those things to qualify? So Bitcoin fits in that perfectly, and that is what we are going to discuss. We may use fancy words, but those fancy words mean simple things. When you talk about Bitcoin, Bitcoin is based on what we call game theory. Game theory is a very, very simple thing. What do we mean by Bitcoin in game theory? We mean that each market participant values Bitcoin as a good based on their own appraisal. They look at Bitcoin, they value it based on their coin. Is this thing worth what it is? Is it valuable? Do I think? Okay. And how much is this thing worth? It's the people who appraise this. So that's what game theory is all about. And this is the beauty of Bitcoin. It is not based on subjectivity whereby certain people tell you, okay, in the future, this is going to be so much. But now it's the people, general people, me and you, the ordinary citizen, looking at something, appraising it, valuing it. This is an old concept, even long time ago, anciently. people were looking for valuable collectibles. They were looking for something that in the community they think, hey, so and so has got something that is valuable. And that is what made them to be called wealthy people in their own era, because they had collectibles. This is what Bitcoin is all about. People valuing, appraising something and saying, wow, this thing is so valuable. And that's what is causing it to go up, to go down at some point in time, because people like it, they appraise it, they fall in love with it. As they collect it, it skyrockets. But at some point in time, they realize their profits, they sell it, which is allowed in open markets. They don't have to consult. And once they sell it, they make their profits, they buy again. So it's a beautiful cycle by the people for the people, and they enjoy that without an external person dictating what it is valuable, whether it is valuable or not.
So that part, that's how we're going to close it off, because I am sold. If you thought Bitcoin was a bubble, Pusha, you asked the question. You know, I don't even know how to. Okay, Bitcoin, talking about value. The value of Bitcoin is based on what the community says it is. As much when we value it, that is what it's worth. And that's why Sonela said, when we value it, we get it, and then that drives the value up, and then we realize our profit, and then we sell it, and the price goes down, and then those who value it, and it is for the people, by the people, no government involved. Sponelo, I'm just gonna get, I need to get a clip of that last part when you spoke about this. It was, Pusha, back to our description. Now I think, Pusha, we have answered you. We have unpacked what Wikipedia says King, a bubble is. Your question was, is Bitcoin a bubble? We have unpacked what we determined that it is an asset.
Yep.
We determined that its price, it is not implausible or inconsistent, but it is designed that it is going to be appreciated it's going to appreciate in value. Swanelo spoke about it being infinite, the predictability of the mining, knowing when it's and then he went on to describe, does it exceed the intrinsic value? And he spoke about the value of this asset depends on what we value it as. Portia, my conclusion is that Bitcoin does not fit that description of a bubble. That's it.
Wow, Maggie, thank you so much. I am schooled, and I'm hoping that our viewers have also learned something. And I just like how you unpacked it, you simplified it, even for that new person. By the time they leave here, they have a clear idea of what Bitcoin is. And we have answered in no uncertain terms whether Bitcoin is a bubble or not. Clearly, Mr. Mohale has made it clear that Bitcoin is not a bubble. Thank you so much. I appreciate this session tonight. It was really informative. I don't know if we're taking questions, or maybe we can open the floor for 1 or 2 questions, and then we close, because we will be back here on Wednesday again, same time, same place, 6:30 next week, Wednesday. Any questions? Please check Facebook, Maggie, if there are any questions on the chat.
I forgot about our Facebook community. Sorry about that. No questions.
Do we have any questions in the house? Going once, going twice, gone. So, oh, it's a comment. Thanks for the informative session, guys. Much appreciated. I don't know who that person is. They just have their cryptocurrency wallet address. Clearly, it's someone who's been blazing the trails of cryptocurrency, just like we have been. So yeah, if there's not much to be said, I think let's close the session. We'll connect again next week, Wednesday, 6:30. Let's talk all things cryptocurrencies. Thank you so much, Crypto Trio. Thank you and good night.
Thanks, Portia, and thanks, Maggie, and thanks for everybody who made this a success by attending and listening to what we had to say.
Mr. Mohale, thank you. You were on fire. Night, everyone.